All right, what's up, all you production pirates? We are back with another banger of a build for you guys today. Today is going to be a full build video. And so what these are is, it is basically kind of a display of my thinking. So I kind of take an idea that I've been knocking around or brainstorming for a little while, and then I kind of get a solution together in my head and then try and build it in here, warts and all, dead ends, all that kind of stuff in a workflow that you guys can kind of see so you can understand not only the solution that I'm building, but kind of the thinking and thought process of my mind and just what goes into it. So if the idea of figuring out whatever is going on in my demented mind appeals to you guys, you're in the right place. So the thing that we're going to be building today, again, it's a very niche thing that I encounter based on certain types of jobs that I do. And at a base level, it is a really simple batch renaming feature. That's essentially all we're going to be doing is batch renaming files. And so in this case, it is going to be these NDAs that I have here, because I work on jobs where sometimes I'm required to get NDAs for basically everybody on set. And at least with this company, we will actually carry the NDAs over for the entire year. That way it's like, all right, cool. You sign an NDA, you're good for, the calendar year. When it comes to working with this company, it will probably end up being, anywhere between like 100 to 200 NDAs that I collect over the course of the entire year. I put them all through Dropbox Sign, and then they just basically dump into my folder. So it's good. I collect them. It's fine. But at the end of it, I sometimes just want to be able to check and rename and be like, all right, hey, who all do I actually have NDAs from? Do I need to collect them again? I don't want to have to go through and look at them right here and be like, all right, cool. Do I have an NDA from Stanley Kubrick? No. Do I have one from, who else? Ridley Scott, whatever. I don't want to have to do that. I want to be able to have all the files named. That way I can just look down and know, all right, cool. I have the NDA from the person that I need to have it from. So the way that I started thinking about this was, well, what if there was a way that I could read this file and it would be able to pull out the name from the file and then automatically rename the file as an NDA with the name attached to it? I'm like, okay, that seems possible. I've had the solution in front of me for probably 6 months to a year, but it is in the form of a terminal command called pdftotext. And what it is, it was part of an original suite of terminal tools that I think it was from originally it was from some company called XPDF, which now is under the brand of some company named Poplar. But again, it is a suite of tools that are, designed for certain terminal functions. And for those of you who don't know what terminal is, it's the way that we used to communicate with our computers. It was it had to be done via text. So this thing I have over here on the right called Warp is a basically terminal app. You have a baseline one in your computer. In Mac, it's just called Terminal, and it looks like this. It's a very basic thing where you just type text and commands into here in order to interact with your computer. Basically, because we have these things now called graphic user interfaces where I can just click exit, that's how most of us interact with our computers. We do it through the mouse and interacting with folders. But way back when, the terminal was the way that you did it. And it has allowed me to be able to build a lot of expedited workflows that are really, really useful. So I have a newfound appreciation for the terminal. Anyway, so the tool that I'm talking about, pdftotext, basically what it does is anytime you have a proper PDF, something that is saved from DocuSign, something that is exported from Microsoft Word, as long as it's not a scan and it comes from, a legitimate text program, it bakes in all of this text into a layer within the file. So it isn't like this text is just pixels on a page. It actually has a readable, I don't want to say program layer, but there's a layer underneath it of all the raw text and information. And what pdftotext does is it is able to go into the files you point it to, and it will extract the text from that and can put it in, it can read it back in your terminal. It can generate a standard text file. That was really the main purpose of it, was to be able to just put it in a generic text file. So I decided, okay, can I take it one step further? Could I create a script or a command where if I point it to this folder, this NDA sign folder, can it go into the folder, look at every PDF, extract the text from the PDF, and then run some code that will basically try to interpret, okay, where is the name in this? Can it look through all of this text and can it find Stanley Kubrick and then rename the file NDA Stanley Kubrick? So that is what we are here to find out and try and build through the help of Claude, because God knows there's no way I would be able to do this on my own. So we're going to vibe code our way to a workflow hack to save time on renaming these things. And I only have 10 files in here, but again, like there would be cases where I have jobs with 30, 40, 50 people. I don't want to go back into this folder and look at every file, determine every name, type out every name along with NDA and all that. No, I want to be able to just do this automatically. I want to be able to run a single command that will go straight into this folder when I point it to it, and it will be able to rename everything instantly. Like 50 names, it's like, yeah, that could be like, 10, 15 minutes of time. Don't want to do that. It's just file renaming. It's just pencil pushing. I don't want to spend time doing it. So let's try and build a solution for it. I think that's all the precursor stuff that you guys really need to know. So let's just jump into this. Let's start building it. I'm hoping the solution is going to be as simple in my mind as it seems. And there shouldn't be too many roadblocks. I'm going to try and dictate as much of the stuff up front as I possibly can. I need you to help me build a Mac executable, Unix executable script for a command that I can use within a terminal, period. I want to be able to have this be a file, not a Python file, but a standard text file that lives in my path folder or is able to be pointed to from my path folder, where when I type out the name of the file, it will execute this command in the terminal, period. So what I'm telling it right now is the type of file that I want it to be. So I'm going to show you guys here my scripts workflows folder. Right here are all of my basically shortcut commands that I have built in here. Notice that they are Unix executable files. And basically all these are just text files with code in them. But when I type them in here, say, for example, I type new invoice. Oh, hang on. I want to hide this doc. When I type in what this one is called, new invoice, once I input any one of these in here, it will prompt me to run these commands. So in this case, this is a placeholder invoice generator that basically allows me to input information. It will generate a text file of a placeholder invoice if I need it to. Because there's cases where I want to actualize a job, but I'm waiting on invoices from a bunch of people. So I want to be able to just get placeholder things in there quickly. And this is kind of the first version of that that I've created. So this allows me to run all that. We're going to build something that's like this. And right now I'm actually going to cancel this command here, whatever this is. There we go. Yeah, we're done. Okay. And we know what a Unix executable script is. We're going to build this. That was the beginning of whatever the hell this is. So now we're going to continue, and I'm going to line out what I want it to actually be. Unix executable file that you build is going to be a batch renaming feature command that will take a folder path input from me, it will then go through every PDF file in that folder, using the pdftotext extraction tool command line interface thing, it will extract all of the text, and then it will attempt to interpret the name that is on that file, period. From there, it will rename the file NDA, followed by the name of the person who has signed that NDA, period. As of right now, this script is just for batch renaming NDA files because they are all the same, period. I may develop it into something a little bit more robust later, but for right now, I want to be able to develop something that is able to pull all of the text from the file and try to ascertain what the name of the person is who signed this NDA, period. Once that is done, I would like the command to show me a list of the files that it sees, and then I want it to show me the name that it would change it to, period. So I want to be able to verify that it has in fact found the correct name before doing the final file name swap, period. At the end, I would like it to prompt me for either a rename or a copy, period. A rename is just a flat rename of all the files that it is able to rename in the folder, comma. The copy feature will actually create a new folder in the directory that has been given with copies of all of these files with the newly assigned names, period. Let me know if there are any other details I can provide for you that will give more clarity. All right, so I think I've given it enough context to build like a working version on the first pass. So let's just see what happens when we do this. All right, cool. Shell script, bash, shebang. I have never heard that, but I love the fact that it says shebang. No.py, no.sh. Yes, that is what I want. In the past, like it would build a Python script, and for some reason, I don't understand Python in that regard in terms of how it interacts within these folders. Like it is still the code, but it wasn't calling on it the way that it needed to. So I find that I need to be like very specific of like, hey, I need a Unix executable file that is not Python. And maybe now that I know that it's called bash shebang, maybe it'll be easier in the future when I create these. Okay, it's saying it's calling the Anthropic API to interpret the signer's name from the raw text, which I don't want it to do. I don't want it to use any AI Anthropic API or anything to interpret it. So I'm wondering where it's getting that. Shows a preview table, then prompts rename in the folder. Here's the finished script. Yeah, it's telling to set the Anthropic API key. So I don't want it to do that. I don't even want to start with this. We're going to actually do some adjustments right from the get-go. Okay, one correction, as I didn't specify this at the beginning, comma, I do not want any use of AI Anthropic API calls, period. I want some kind of code that is able to ascertain what the name is, period. I want it baked into the logic, period. So I'm not sure contextually what it would use to assign the name, period, but I will say that the names themselves are assigned on lines next to a indicator that says name, period. So let me know what other adjustments or clarifications you need from me to make this swamp. Make this swamp. A few questions to nail the logic. All right, we'll see what this has to say. The parsing logic. That's a word that I've found myself using more and more as I've done these scripts, is the idea of parsing. Multiple name fields in the doc, one for each party, the talent contractor, or these digitally created PDFs. So what I will actually do in this case, I'm just going to give it one of the PDFs, and then that way it can hopefully interpret it all on its own. Let me actually give you a copy of the PDF so that you can ascertain what the best solution is. All right, so we're just going to go in here. We're going to drag and drop that guy in there, let it upload, and fire. Actually, structure is very clear. Looking at page 2, pdftotext will extract the signature block, something as like name Stanley Kubrick signature, blah, blah, blah. The name sits in the same line as name. A simple regex will grab it reliably with 0 API calls. Let me also check what pdftotext output actually outputs from this exact file to make sure the pattern matches reality before writing the regex. I wish I knew what regex meant. I should probably look that up. Name, grab the non-empty line directly above it. Now I'll relate the script with that logic baked in. Good. Role title is after the line. Role title. Consistent Dropbox sign patterns, field values, float adjacent to the underlying field. Now rewriting the full script. Okay, cool. Let's see what this is about. Is there anything else interesting up here that I missed? Usually created. It already knows that. It knows it's Dropbox Sign or DocuSign or whatever. That one's not actually showing me the code. All right, we'll go back down to this. Look at that. Look at all that code it's writing. All that stuff that I'm not smart enough to write on my own. We might fast forward through this if this takes longer. Extraction confirm, blah, blah, blah. Ran a command, read a file. Did I actually run this in the background? I don't even know if I could do that. How parsing work when Dropbox Sign embeds a filled value into a PDF. Layout renders it. The floating line positioned spatially above the blank underline field, so the raw text looks like this. The script walks every line. The line name. It tracks the previous line and validates it. The real name. 2+ words, letters, hyphens, apostrophe only. 2 fallback strategies handle edge cases, which is great. Inline format name John Smith and printed name variants. One-time install, which through install Poplar if Poplar isn't installed yet. Then just NDA rename. All right, cool. So I already have Poplar installed. I have all the stuff for this. So let me actually give it the folder destination. So we're going to go in here. We're just going to click. We're going to do Option Command C. That will do the folder path. Please regenerate the install command based on this folder path that I'm providing for you, period. I already have pdftotext installed, so I shouldn't need to install any new commands, comma. So I presume the Poplar install is redundant. Okay, so what I got to do, we're going to do NDA rename. I'm going to download it so it's in my folder. We will download it. That's great. We'll X out of there. All right, then we will do downloads NDA rename, and it will move it to the necessary folder for me and install it. So let's do this. Now we should see NDA rename in the folder. And there it is right there. NDA rename is now alive and well in here. Whoa, that's great. That's just cool. Great. Now I want to change all the headers for all my other things into whatever the hell this is. Very, very 1980s hacker looking Stranger Things, whatever. So, all right, cool. Happy about that. And then to make it callable by name from anywhere, you'll need to add that folder in your path if it isn't already, which it already is. Path is basically just, what is it? This thing, $path, is basically what any terminal program will look at if it's trying to find commands. So when I type in things like new invoice or export MSG or NDA rename, it knows to come look into this folder. It knows this specific folder, this specific path. I need to look in here every time you type something and try and find commands. So that's great. It looks like I'm going to throw this over here just so we have a full view. So the next thing that we're going to do is let's run the first version of this command. So we're going to do NDA rename. And oh man, that looks so much cooler than I thought it was going to look. Man, that's great. Okay. Usage source scans every file. pdftotext requires pdftotext brew install Poplar. So I'm wondering, rename the PDF files in the target directory using NDA rename. Okay, so it's not asking me for a directory. Let's see where I'm actually living right now. It's like, I'm wondering if it actually ran the command in there. I think it just ran something in there that I didn't want it to do. Maybe? No. Am I crazy? No, these are fine. Okay. Let's go back to Claude and ask the questions. Okay, one clarification. I just ran it for the first time, but it didn't prompt me for a directory period. Do I just automatically put it in there, question mark, or does it run it in whatever my present working directory is, question mark? Okay, so NDA rename path to your folder. So what it's saying is when I type in NDA rename, I need to make sure that I include the path in it already. Let's see, it doesn't default to your current directory. If you just type NDA rename, it just shows usage and help text. Okay, perfect. So we'll make that change in a minute. Let's just run it right now to see if it's working. So we're going to go back into legal. We will go into NDA signed, and we will copy the path. We'll go back into here, NDA rename, space, directory. We'll do that. Error. It could be the quotes. Could be the fact that I have single quotes right here around the path name. So I may actually need to drag the folder in here. So let's do this one more time. So we're going to do NDA rename space. We're going to go in here. We're actually going to drag the path right into here and see what it says. That also didn't work. Map file command not found. NDA rename. NDA renamer. Okay, so something's going down. Let's figure out what we're doing wrong. Errors on a couple fronts. Map file is a bash 4 feature, but Mac, let's see here, but Mac OS ships with bash 3.2 due to licensing. Your script is running on an old bash system. Easy fix, replace map file with a compatible loop. Let me patch it. I have no clue what any of that means. So we're going to do that. We'll clear that out just so we have a fresh view. Same install command as before, just overwrite the existing file. So we're going to do this. We're going to download. We're going to press, NDA rename. Replace that. Go back into here, downloads, NDA rename. We will run it, fire it. Let's just go back and check and see if the file has modified. Go back into the scripts workflows today at 3:11, and it is 3:11 right now. So this is the most recent one. We'll put that over there. All right, let's try this one more time. Let's see if it works. Let's do NDA rename. We will space, and then we will drag and drop into here. Let's press enter. All right, so we got something, found 10 PDFs, parsing signer names from signature blocks, and then something happens. Invalid option line declare. I don't know what that means, so we're going to go back to Claude and throw it in there and see what it says. If I were doing this manually, I just wouldn't do it. I don't think I would do it. And also another useful thing is down here, because this is an AI-supported terminal command, it will actually also give you suggestions as to how to improve it. All right, save installed command overwrite, declare A, we're breaking it, and map file now gone. The rename map is replaced in 2 parallel indexed arrays. That index is in lockstep, which works all the way back to 3.2. Great, so we're going to do it again. Download, save, replace. Run the command again. Run the command again. Done. Let's go double check, make sure it's the correct file. Updated today at 3:13, which we're at 3:13. That's great. Make that look good again. All right, let's try it again. And all this, I actually haven't given it the thing where it's like, hey, prompt me for the folder path. So NDA rename again. Drag it in there. Enter. Okay, perfect. We are processing. Much better. Much better. All right. So NDA template Friday. Let's just take a look at our files and just make sure that we have the right ones. So the ending is the thing that's different. So 230106 is Stanley Kubrick. I know that's Stanley Kubrick, which is great. Next one is Ridley Scott. I know that. Next one is Werner Herzog, which is great. Next one, Meryl Streep, which is good. Daniel Day-Lewis. Did it find Daniel Day-Lewis? It did. The only thing that it didn't do is it didn't capitalize Lewis. So I don't know why it opted to do that, but glad that it found the edge case with a hyphen as a name or recognized that that was the full name. Francis Ford Coppola, it did a 3-person name as well, which is great. And then again, Steve McQueen. So yeah, it looks like it's not keeping the capitalizations, which I'm not sure why, but it's not the end of the world. Leibowitz, good. Sofia Coppola, good. And finally, Akira Kurosawa. Okay, perfect. So let's see, just for this, just so I can copy the rename files into a subfolder and I, can test more of this later if I need to. We're going to go in here. We're going to do C. We're going to press enter, and then we're going to see a new folder generate here with copies of all of these renamed files. So we're going to press enter, and it didn't do what I wanted it to do. So we got so close. So let's put this all in there and see what went wrong. There's also a bash 4+ fix. This is so strange because nothing that I have built so far in here in terminals and anything like that, I've never had this like bash 4+ encounter. So I may need to give it some kind of prompting where it's like only use these parameters. But it also caught the edge cases, which is great. Hyphenated, Daniel Day-Lewis, and McQueen. Both are limitations of simple title case functions with names that have internal caps. Not a big deal. Great. I think the only thing, actually, before they do it, I will actually ask him. This is great, comma. Also, if you wouldn't mind, please have it prompt me for the path directory after I execute the commands. I don't want it to have me required to put the pathway name before I run the command, period. I just want to run the command name, and then it will prompt me like I'm a 5-year-old to put in the actual pathway because I can't remember to do it ahead of time. All right, replace argument-based path input with interactive prompts. Find the exact lines to replace. Awesome. Hopefully this doesn't break the whole thing. All right, this is all good. Waiting for it. Now the flow will be in where are to drag the folder into this window, then press enter. Great. It's even giving a tip as well. Incredible. It'll paste or paste type it manually. Yeah, there's no way I would ever type that pathway manually. We are going to download again, enter, replace, good to go. That's done. And then we'll run this path again to do what we needed to do. Done. Let's go into it again and just make sure 317, we have the most updated version. And let's try it one more time. Gonna celebrate. NDA rename. Awesome. Asking for the folder path. We're gonna go in here. We'll drag the NDA down in there. We'll press enter. Not a directory. Why is this not a directory? Is it different if I paste it in there? Oh, NDA rename. Okay, that's weird. That's weird that it actually wants me to paste it now with the single quotes versus before when it didn't want me to. Either way, it gets us where we need it to for the time being. So, let's see here. Yeah, all the names. Yep, those are all accurate. So let's try the copy rename files to a new subfolder. Done. And perfect. All right, we have got NDA renamed with all the name files. Kurosawa, Leibowitz, Daniel Day-Lewis, Francis Ford Coppola, Meryl Streep, Ridley Scott, Sofia Coppola, Stanley Kubrick, Steve McQueen, and Werner Herzog. Perfect. All right, this is everything that I wanted it to be and more. I'm wondering, do I dare rename them all? I mean, the rename feature should be fine. I'm just like, oh, what if I need to run more use cases for this? You know what? Let's actually go through this and let's just have it rename the ones that are already in here. I'm just going to change all these to fake names and then it will rename them as needed. Okay. Those are all renamed now. It will have it read the same files over again. We'll see what the hell happens. But I wanted to keep these as is just because as I troubleshoot further, as I adjust, I want to be able to have just the baseline original files. So let's try this. We'll actually go in here. Let's copy this folder path. We're going to do NDA rename, enter, prompting for the path, fake name 1. Okay, great. It's going through everything. Did it capture all of them correctly? 1, 10. 1 is Akira Kurosawa, right? 10 should be Werner Herzog. Yes, because it went alphabetically originally. That would make sense. Okay, cool. Now let's try rename files in place. Not that one. Rename files in place. We have R here. So make sure we look up here when we press enter to determine if those names are all going to change correctly. We press R and they all change instantly. Perfect. Perfect. I have no notes. I actually do have notes, but this is a case where I'm like, it does exactly what I want it to do, like 90%. Like it isn't exactly everything that I envision it, but that's what all the tweaking is for. We've got it to this point. And the thing for me about this is I'm like, okay, cool. In my mind, I'm like, all right, I have now found a way for this program to basically read any proper PDF and extract information and assign logic to it to rename files. So again, if I have like another batch renaming thing that comes up in the future, I'm wondering if there is a way that I could kind of take this command a little bit further and be like, all right, cool. Instead of it being just an NDA renamer, could I have it where it could potentially register talent releases where, you know, instead of it just being NDAs, it's like, yeah, it could be talent releases. It could be just any batch of, you know, PDFs that all need to be renamed just for organization's sake. This is kind of, I think, the first step in that process, especially just kind of showing the power of the PDF to text feature where it can extract everything. And then even just through the code that it built, it is able to kind of build out this logic where it's like, okay, which of these things is the name? How do I make sure that this is the name? How do I make sure this is the correct, you know, thing that I need to reassign to this file? So this is in a wonderfully workable position. This is absolutely something that I am probably going to try to use on a backlog of things. But that's the run of it. Yeah, let me know what you guys think of this. Let me know if you have an understanding of terminal or coding or programming and suggestions for like, hey, you should have prompted it this way. You should have given it these specifications. I'm all ears. Like I'm always trying to find ways to kind of make these things more difficult to break. I like the edge cases, all of the things that allow this to, you know, work consistently and work in a greater variety of scenarios are even better. Like I'm sitting here being like, is there a way that I could have it comb through my entire folder and, you know, extract text from everything and rename all the files the way that I want them to? You know, that's where my, you know, wandering mind is going, is like, oh, there's a huge ambitious goal that you could go for. But for now, we have done what we've set out to do, and this is functional, and I'm very happy with it. Again, any comments you guys have, throw it in the comments. I'm excited for feedback. And also, shameless self-promotion, my book, The Back Office Bandit, is available in a link in the description below. It is a book that is all about my breaking into the film industry, the first like 3 or 4 years that I spent and all the things that I wish I knew. So if you are an aspiring film production person or know somebody who is aspiring to work in film production and specifically freelance and networking and kind of those initial years of breaking in, give it a check. Thank you guys so much for being with me on this. We'll see you on the next one.